morning, Year 7. So we started our new module yesterday, travel writing, and we started to have a look at what travel writing was. So what I'd like you to do now is list as many different examples of travel writing as you can remember from our lesson yesterday. Okay then, so today we're going to do some analysis of some different forms of travel writing. But to be able to do that, you need to know these three words that are on the board right now. So they're going to need copying into your books. So the first word that you need to know is form, okay? And form means the style that a text is written in. So is it a novel? Is it an article? Is it a blog? Is it a review? Okay, so you're going to need to be able to decide, we've got three texts to look at today, what their form is, okay, so what type of text they are. The second word is audience, and that means that you need to think about who the writer has wrote this piece of writing for. So for instance, it could be for somebody who's looking for a holiday, it could be for someone who's looking for reviews on a certain hotel. It could be for somebody who perhaps doesn't have the confidence to go out and explore themselves. So they have to do it by, looking at other people's journals and living life vicariously through them. So the audience is really important. Some might be aimed at a younger audience. So maybe if there's lots of clubs and bars and pubs, it might be aimed at, the 18 to 20-year-olds. If it's nice and relaxing and calm, it might be aimed at older people. If it's got lots of playgrounds and lots of kids clubs, it might be aimed at you guys. So you've got to have a think about who the audience is for each of these texts. And then the purpose. So what does the writer want to show us in the piece of text? So they might be trying to persuade us to go on holiday. They might be trying to advise us as to what a hotel is like. They might be trying to explain what their experiences were like, okay? So you've got to decide for each of our three texts today what their form is, who the audience is, and what their purposes are. So make sure all of that is written in your books for me. So these are the three texts that we are having a look at today. So you're going to need to copy these tables into your book for me. So the first text is a travel blog. Okay, the second text is Lonely Planet, and the third text is Bill Bryson's text. So you need three of these tables because you need to decide what the form is, who the audience is, and what the purpose is for each of these texts. So hopefully you've had a read of the text now and you've managed to fill in the table on your own. I'm just going to go over the answers with you just to make sure you've got the correct ones. So first of all, it asks you what the form is, and that should have been really easy because its title gives it away. It says it's a travel blog, okay? So a blog is essentially where somebody writes about their experiences. Imagine it as kind of an online diary, okay? So the audience then, so who do we think is going to be interested in this? Well, potential travellers, obviously. Anyone who's going to come and visit England, or anyone who's planning on visiting, obviously, London, they're going to want to know what it's like, aren't they? And if they read these positive reviews, then obviously they're more inclined to come. And its purpose is to inform, so it's to give a non-biased view. It's just to inform people about what they might experience when they're in London. Okay, so now we're going to move on to our second text, which is Lonely Planet. Okay then, so hopefully you had a read through Lonely Planet and you filled out the table for yourself. So just again, going to go over the answers for you. So form, so this one is an information book or a brochure, we might call it. So basically, its text type is that it's a book full of information about different places, and it's very factual in the information that it delivers, whereas the travel blog was obviously a much more personal experience of their travel around London. The audience is potential travellers again, so somebody who's thinking about coming to visit London who might want a bit more information than what's provided on a blog might look to a travel guide or an information book. And its purpose is to inform, so it gives you lots of details, doesn't it? But also this one is more to persuade as well, because obviously they've got that big paragraph in the beginning of this that tries to persuade you that obviously London is the best place to visit within England. So We've had to look at two different styles of travel writing now, both quite different. So one being quite factual, the other being quite kind of personal and a little bit more informal. But they are both still forms of travel writing, and they do provide a lot of people in our country and in other countries a huge amount of help when they're trying to decide on where they'd like to travel to next. Okay then, so our third and final extract was from a Bill Bryson book, okay? And the form of this one is that it is a journal, okay? So basically he's written his own thoughts and feelings down and then published them. So the audience is potential travellers or people who are already living in London. He does state quite a few times that obviously he feels that people who live in London don't really see its true kind of draw, but obviously he lives in London and he's able to see it, so that's why he's informing people on it. And its purpose is to explain. He's not trying to persuade people that London is the best place to live. He's not trying to persuade you to come and visit. He just wants to explain his own personal opinions on London itself. So we've had a look at three different styles of travel writing today. And what I'd like you to finish this lesson off by doing is thinking about which one you preferred and why. And then also, if you could produce your own piece of travel writing, what form would you like it to take and why do you feel that way? There is a show my homework quiz for you to have a go at the end of today's lesson, so make sure that you do that as well. But thank you for your time and I hope you've enjoyed travel writing.